Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, Donald Trump is now talking about spending billions of our tax dollars to bail out a group of people who he destroyed. He destroyed their livelihood. And they're really in serious trouble. I'm going to explain how we know this, how we know that things have gotten exponentially worse for them this year. So here's the deal. Over the weekend, it was reported that farmers are really feeling the pressure of Trump's policies, his failing policies, so much so that calls to farmer specific mental health hotlines are skyrocketing, or one in particular, I should say. So this was the report. A woman named Tammy Jacobs, she's the manager of one of these hotlines, and she told a news outlet that she has seen a 400 to 500% increase in the number of calls as compared to a year ago. So, as compared to a year ago when the Biden economy was so horrific that everybody had to vote for Trump, she has now seen a spike over that of 4 to 500%. And one of the hotline operators told the journalist that callers are becoming increasingly desperate. So it's not just that the amount of calls have increased, it's that the people who are calling are at the end of their rope. Like, this is not just, hey, I'd like to get some help. It is, I'm desperate. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is it. And she said, quote, "We're seeing more established farmers calling in, people who know how to play the game and how to access programs. They're calling more often now because even with all that institutional knowledge, they're still running into issues for the first time that are more complex and difficult to solve." So they're having issues under the Trump administration that they have never had before. They don't know how to navigate this stuff because they have never dealt with this before. And the news outlet also spoke with a woman named Emma Yerke. She's involved in a monthly meetup group for farmers. It's called Ag Chapter of Gray Matters. So Yerke addressed the fact that farmers are, in general, just not because of the Trump administration, but in general, farmers are twice as likely to take their own lives as non-farmers. Now, there's a lot of factors that they cite for this, but a lot of it has to do with just feeling isolated, being out there by yourself for so many hours a day, I would imagine, is isolating. But there's other factors too. And sadly, this woman said her father actually took his own life. So she lost him in 2011. And Yerke told the journalist, quote, "It's a huge issue. I mean, we've known at least 3 families this year whose loved ones died by suicide." So this has always been a major issue, but it's clearly getting worse this year because of Trump. His tariffs, as you all know, they have done a ton of damage to the export market, totally annihilated the soybean market, and he's pulled and or frozen a ton of funding. There's all kinds of funding for various programs that they used to give to farmers. They used to have grants for these farmers that would act as secondary or third income sources. And I've mentioned this before. So things like government funding for farmers to grow produce that they then give to local food banks. So the government would fund that so that the working poor, so, the non-working, so people who need help had food that they could go get at food banks. And it also stimulated the economy by giving money to the farmers. So a lot of farmers, they can't find workers. as well. This is another issue this year because of Trump's cruel immigration policies, as you guys all know. And there was a representative from the group called Farm Aid. They told this news outlet, and I'll bring this up, quote, "Since the beginning of the year, the farmers have just been thrown into a different level of uncertainty with policy things like losing access to some markets through tariffs, losing access to staff and programming with the government shutdown, and the funding freezes. A big one we're hearing about is losing access to labor with the ICE raids, etc." And then he went on to say, "I was just speaking to a farmer the other day who was basically watching his crops rot on the vines because his usual labor support was just too afraid to show up this year." So food that could be going to needy families, to hungry, starving children, is just wasting. It is literally rotting on the vine because of the Trump administration. So now Trump is talking, like I said, about, or I guess he signed this. They did a press conference the other day where he fell asleep again, by the way. But yeah, he did this press conference and they announced that, yeah, we're doing this $12 billion aid package for the farmers. And I guess they're going to do 11 billion up front, hold 1 billion back for some reason. Here's the thing. I feel for these people. Honest to God, I do. I don't want to see anyone take their own life. I also don't want to see children starving in our country who need the food that these farmers can supply. I also have concerns that we're missing the bigger picture here. We're missing a key issue with pesticides and herbicides polluting their air and their land, and definitely damaging their microbiome, definitely affecting their brains, because, and maybe some of you who are new here don't know my previous experience. My background is as a health coach. I am dual certified in vegan nutrition and integrative nutrition. I have studied health, nutrition, fitness for decades, literally decades. And what I know is, and you can look this up, our gut microbiome is considered to be our second brain. Okay, so when that is damaged, it causes all kinds of issues, mental health included, mental health issues, because about 70% of the serotonin in our body, which is our feel-good hormone, it's what makes us happy and, want to do things and get out and, be joyful. Over 70% of that is produced in our gut, not in our brain. So when you damage your gut microbiome, you are going to be depressed. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on this tangent, but that needs to be studied. That should be something that RFK Jr. should be looking at and dealing with. But we know he won't, because the Trump administration is bought and paid for by Big Ag and all the other, giants in this country that control Congress as well. So anyway, we'll set all that aside for a minute, because I have two major issues with Donald Trump bailing them out. First of all, this is Trump's doing. Like I said, he screwed up. He screwed up so badly that, these farmers are barely hanging on by a thread. Now, we collectively as the taxpayers have to bail them out. Like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Here's an idea. How about you just reverse all of these moronic, racist policies, and then we won't have to waste $12 billion? Or how about if Donald Trump dips into his big old fat piggy bank and he pays for it himself? right? Let's do what stores do. You break it, you buy it. He broke it. He broke the economy. He destroyed these farmers. Let him buy it. The other issue I have with this is that the vast majority of farmers voted for this. They did this to themselves. They voted for this man, the majority. It was like something like 75, 80% of farmers. And for what? Like I've shared with all of you guys how farmers have admitted their crops were selling at record high prices as of last year and during Biden's term. So what was so horrific that they decided, nope, gotta flip, we gotta vote for Trump? Or not even flip. I'm sure they voted for him in the past too, or I know they did. So it's like, so you're not going to go with the guy who's giving you record-breaking returns or his vice president. No, you're going to go to the guy who promised to do sweeping tariffs, which you lived through before and you know that it screwed you over, and we had to bail you out then too. And one other thing too, let me add this. All of these people, oh, communism, socialism. I mean, this is part of what motivates them and what you hear, this stupidity spewing out of their mouth and why they had to go for Trump and why they vote for Republicans. And yet here they are with their handout. You know, and so many times you'll hear, oh, we don't want a handout. We just want to work. We just want, you know, a fair opportunity. But they'll take it. They'll certainly take it. If Trump is going to hand out this $12 billion, they're going to line up and they're going to take it. I would like to see one of them who has slammed the left for communism and socialism, stand up, have some ethics, show some principles, and say, no, thank you. I said I don't like handouts. I don't like socialism. I don't like communism. I am not going to take it because I stand against that. I guarantee you won't find one. And that really pisses me off. Because it's like, oh, okay, so socialism for you, and then, you know, all of this typical, you know, capitalistic bullshit and bailouts from us and for us, right? So we have to fund you, but then when it comes to helping the needy in the country who doesn't align with your views, maybe they're gay, maybe they're transgender, maybe they're, you know, another nationality or ethnicity or religion. No, those people they're not deserving of your compassion. But we're all supposed to be compassionate and empathetic. Anyway, guys, all right, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.